I think we're streaming. I'm not sure if people can hear me now. And anyway, welcome people. We're going to start the show, the NYC O.G. Good Timing Show. Okay, we're here, so bear with me for a moment here. I think we're on. We're streaming. I'm not sure if people can hear me good. Now. Alrighty, there.
Hi, Aaron.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the NYC O.G. online comedy show with Stars of Good Timing. We're on Peacock TV. Let me do a little intro. Anyway, let me start. Hello, welcome to NYC O.G. featuring the Stars of Good Timing on Peacock TV. I'm Danny Detch, your host in San Francisco, and I'm thrilled to have again tonight's performers on the show. They are all from New York City, and they all took a comedy class at Greenwich House with comedian actress Joe Firestone, who also wrote for The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. I was so excited when I saw some of my fellow comedians on TV. It was a surprise. I performed with them many times on Zoom during the pandemic, which I guess we're kind of still in it. I'm not sure. Anyway, I also got to meet online with the other students in the class. So I got to know well after maybe a year or two, and they'll be performing for you tonight. I just wanted to give them an opportunity to get more stage time, and I think it's really great that they're pursuing comedy. So, like I said, I'm Danny Detch, the host, and let's see a little bit about myself. Let's see. I don't know how old I am because my parents lost my birth certificate when they put me in the basket in the river. But I do remember the name of the river. It was Niagara Falls. So on that, let's see. So, like I said, I'm here in San Francisco, and we have an ice cream museum here in San Francisco. And I went to take the tour, but they canceled it because one of their employees had a meltdown. Yeah, and my friend of mine asked me the other day. They looked at my eye and said, "Hey, Danny, why is your eye so red and swollen?" And I said, "Oh, I got kicked by an ostrich." And he said, "Oh, do you work at the zoo?" And I said, "No, I work at Human Resources." So anyway, this always happens to me. Whenever I go into a store, customers come up to me and they ask me questions because they think I work there. I mean, do I look like an assistant manager? I don't know. The other day I was over at the sports shop in the mall just minding my own business when this guy comes up to me with a parking garage ticket in his hand. And he says to me, "Excuse me, sir, can you please validate me?" And I go, "Sure. You're a good person, everyone likes you, and you smell nice." The guy says, "Oh, very funny. Wise guy was talking about my ticket." And so I look at his ticket and I say, "You're a good ticket, everyone likes you, and you smell nice." And the guy gets mad. He starts yelling at me, and then the store manager comes over to see what all the commotion's about, and he fires me. I only work there. Yeah, but I did get my 2 week severance pay, so yay, great for me. So. Yeah, I was remembering a while back, for some reason, I remember when I first, years ago, when I first gave donated blood, and, the nurse asked me, what my blood type is, and I said, it was the first time, I don't know what my blood type is, I don't know. So she takes a little sample of blood from my finger, and then she tastes it, and she says, it's B positive. You also had a chicken salad sandwich for lunch, and you live with your mother. So you find a lot about people. And don't forget, we should still keep washing our hands. They say we should wash our hands for as long as it takes us to sing Happy Birthday. But I like to be more careful, so I sing Stairway to Heaven on that. And throughout world history, there have been so many book burnings that you think that Amazon Books can come out with a better name than Kindle and Kindle Fire. Don't you think? Did you see the survey on MSNBC News? It said that 62% of America's workers are having sexual relationships with someone else in the same workplace. So that got me thinking, man, I need to get a job. Movies. It's time for the Academy Awards coming out soon, and this year the Academy Awards is going to have a new category. It's going to be called Best Film without Tom Hanks. Because he's on all movies. And I did go see a movie called I Am Number 4 Yeah, it's a touching story about Mandarin beef over rice. I'm number 4. Uh, so while watching the movie, the guy next to me starts hugging his cell phone right in the middle of the movie. And I tell him, "Excuse me, sir, can you please put your phone away? We're trying to watch a movie." And he does. He actually puts his phone away. Then a few minutes later, I'm talking on my cell phone, and this guy says to me, "Hey, how come I can't talk on my cell phone and you can?" And I tell him that's because I am a hypocrite. Yeah, so, let's see, latest thing in the news. You guys know the New York Representative George Santos, that liar, like, the guy lies like you, everybody heard about him. So, yeah, they really caught on to him. They finally realized that he was a liar when he said he was a New York Giants fan and a New York Jets fan. You can't do both, So, and he said he was saying he's Jewish, and then he said, well, he's not really Jewish, he's ish. And actually, he's meh. He actually is more of a meh. Something like that. They also recently found out that George Santos is actually 2 kids in the trench coat. Yeah. So let's see. So okay, little Maggie there. So okay. Little things. Oh, hey, did you hear about the praying mantis couple? They're having arguments. Yeah, the husband yelled back, "Hey, you don't have to bite my head up." Yeah. So all right. Let's see. I'll finish off with a couple songs. And let's see, here we are. Number 2 pencil. And thank you very much. I'll play one more. What's your joy by Beethoven? Okay. All right, thank you very much. I'm Danny Dutchy, and thank you. So we're back again. We do this every couple months. But let's see, your first comedian of the day. She's also performed there many times on Zoom, and she also co-produced the shows Doctors, Teachers, and Rock and Roll. Check that out. It's every last Wednesday right here on Zoom. So let's give it up to Helene Witt. Yay!
Thank you. I didn't put on my makeup yet today. I thought I'd mention that. Well, before I begin my comedy, I want to say something serious. We had a show on Zoom where Danny wasn't producing it. Danny was a member of the comics, and he got to appreciate, I hope, how good he is because of how bad the producer was of the other show. You know what I mean, Helen? Like, I'm on YouTube right now. The people who put on that show might be insulted if they're watching, but I have to give Danny the accolades. I hope to God there, I use God's name in vain. See, Ziggy's clapping. I hope Danny sat there going, what the was this guy thinking? Like, number one, the guy who was in charge, like Danny is, he was not hearing us, nor were we hearing him. Let me get this straight. You're being paid. This is my rant. This is my bit. I'm now in my bit. Let me get this straight. You were paid $100 to put on our comedy contest. We all paid $50. There are 4 judges here, and you can't hear us, and we can't hear you, and you're putting this on, and you're getting paid. That's number one. Hi, Ivana. Welcome. The second thing that happened was then there was noise. There was very loud noise, and everybody told the woman who was the hostess what to do about the noise. You do this, and you could get rid of whoever is making the noise. Well, the same guy who she paid the $100 to, right, Teresa, he didn't do anything about the noise. He couldn't hear us and we couldn't hear him. So I told myself, as bad as this is, I hope that Danny is sitting there cavelling about himself. I don't know if Teresa knows what that means, but the rest of you do, maybe Ivana. Cavelling and kvetching like, wow, I am really a good producer of these Zoom shows compared to what's going on here. And Danny, I'm just going to ask you, did that happen? Did you say to yourself, what's going on here? Well, that's my time.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, I have to get the door. So I'll be right.
Yeah. Oh, he meant it. He had to go get the door. See, There you go, live shows. I'm asking Danny if you realize how that guy screwed up and Danny screwed up. I'm only kidding. I'm kidding, Ziggy. Okay, so anyway, he won't know my time's up because he's getting the door. It's probably his dinner. But anyway, it was a show that was really okay. Danny, you ready to answer me?
Yeah,
Did you
go
notice
ahead.
how messed up that show was? And did you say to yourself, I'm better than this?
Well, we don't like to brag, but but it's yeah. That was a. I'm glad having you. It's just always great having you, everybody, you guys here on the show. It makes it fun, and I like producing it. What? Is that your question?
You didn't
Let me
answer
raise
the
the volume.
question. What was at the door? Vodka and tonic? I don't know.
No.
You're not answering. Anyway, I was talking to you about the show we were on and then how bad it was produced, and it made me feel good about how good a producer you are.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
anyway,
you.
it was a contest, and one judge wasn't in existence. He had his name up and he wasn't shown. And then one judge, you know what, Alex? The other judge based his voting 1 to 10 on the comics of how relatable they were to his own life. So this one guy had zero jokes. He had just a story about how horrible marriage is. So the judge gets up, he goes, I'm giving him a 10 because I hated marriage too. And then this other guy talks about not being married, and this judge goes, I'm giving him a 10. I'm not married either. That's not how you judge a comedy contest. Then this other woman who was a judge says, I don't like your hair to this one person. I'm giving you a 9. It was crazy, the contest. So, right, Danny? So after the contest, the judges gave the feedback to get you $50 worth of the contest. But the one judge we wanted to see was off camera, and he didn't even like listen to everybody. But the reason I'm bringing up this rant in particular, let's see, who didn't I pick on yet? The reason I'm bringing it up is it made Danny and his productions look so wonderful. And the lady who put it on took zero responsibility for this production that we had. I don't think she's watching right now. And when we said to her, this has your name attached to it, just like Danny Detchi's shows are flawless and it has his name attached to it. We said to her, you have to be responsible for the fact that the guy who you're paying to put it on has his head in a dark place. And the judge that we paid $50 to watch us is not watching us. That's your show. Your name is on the show. Then her boyfriend got on the phone. And he goes, I've been with her for 30 years. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, and she's good at artwork and decor. What does that have to do with this? I made that up to cover the innocent. There's nobody innocent in the story yet, except Danny. And my accolades to you, Danny. Is my time up? Now that you went to the door, you missed 3 minutes of my
No, I'm fine. Thanks. Go ahead. Do your comedy and stuff, or whatever.
Well, that was my comedy for today.
Okay.
I'll tell you my comedy. Okay, so I went to see my doctor today, and he had 2 young trainees with him, and I told them that he's very good at what he does. He gives you a shot to make your bones prevent osteoporosis, but he's very arrogant when it comes to the Beatles, because when he sees me in a Beatle t-shirt, he says, Paul's too old to perform. I don't know why Ringo's still putting on shows. I said, Dr. Slander, I call him Dr. Slander because I make fun of him on stage. Dr. Slander, you're an expert in endocrinology. You help me with my bones, you help me to walk, and I appreciate that. But when it comes to the Beatles, I went to England, I stood outside Abbey Road, I watched the Beatles come in and out for the rest of my life. And maybe somebody knows more about the Beatles than you, but he's very arrogant. And he goes, oh, well, you bring John Lennon into this office, then I'll be impressed. I go, that's a very inappropriate thing to say. And yeah, I'll bring him in the yellow submarine. So we go into his office for him to go over my reports. And I look at his wall. He has all these awards, summa cum laude and in charge of Northwell Health and all that. But I said, one thing I don't see, Dr. Slander, I don't see any gold records. I don't see Help, Hard Day's Night. I don't see George Harrison's gold record. So why are you such an expert on the Beatles? Well, I think I'm done. Oh, Tom's here. Yay. Okay. Thank you, Danny. I'll come back if I can. till
Okay,
5:30.
cool. Thanks, Elaine. Yep. Good luck with your venture over there at 5:30 at the Eastern time or wherever you're doing. But anyway, thanks for being on the show. Yeah, give it for Helene Witt. Woo! Oh, I'll get there. I'm gonna replace the spotlight. Yes. Alrighty then. Your next funny guy, also from New York, I believe. Well, of course. And yeah, he's been also on my Zoom shows and everything. So let's give it up for Alex Glatt. Alex,
Yay, Alex!
Hey, thank you. Right. A lot of us have had a lot of crappy jobs in our past. One of the jobs that I had, I worked for KFC. And if anybody knows what KFC is involved in cooking your chicken, you probably would never go there anymore. I started off as a trainee because, as my manager back then said, they're not going to spend $4,000 sending me down south to learn how to slop chicken, because that's exactly what it was. They'd put a screen over the flour and leave it out so that the mice wouldn't get into it. Every morning, they would go into the suet that was left over from the KFC fried the day before and use that in the gravy. So if you ever get extra gravy, you'll just know that it's leftover grease from the day before. And one of the incidents that I had, since I was going to school at night and working a couple of days during the day, was that there was a bully there who had just come in. I was in there for about 4 months or so, and this big guy knocks against me. This is a very dangerous place to work. You have to take the boxes of chicken, which are weigh about 40 to 50 pounds each, because there are a lot of chickens in it. They're all cut apart, but they're frozen solid. So what they do is they take boiling hot water that they have in a separate boiler, and they wet it down. So this guy poked at me, and I actually stabbed myself with a chicken bone. Why is this funny? Because that day I took the hot water hose and I hosed it up and down, up and down. Of course, the manager fired me after that. But the funny part is, after he fired me, every day they have to throw out the chicken. I used to take a bucket home, so I would have dinner. I would be paid to have dinner. But this time I was fired because I assaulted a fellow worker. Told him what happened. I still had to be fired. Okay, fine, I'm fired. Meanwhile, I'm dry. He's soaked. He has to leave. Manager then turns to me. He says, "Oh, I fired you." And I said, "Yeah. You want me to leave now?" He said, "No, I need you here for the rest of the shift." I said, "Fine, I'll be here for the rest of the shift." Then he closes the doors and he says to me, "Oh, I forgot. I have to go to the bank with all this money that I have after the store was closed. Will you do this for me?" Sure. I never asked for a recommendation for that place. Why is it funny? Because here I am. I'm fired. I'm told I can't take chicken, yet I have my chicken. And now I have to walk the guy to the bank. This is funny because it's weird how life comes back to you. One of the other jobs I had was I was an art retoucher trainee. Learned how to, back when they did not have any Photoshop and you couldn't change anything, people had to retouch photographs with black and white, with ink and pencil. And they would use a small airbrush with paint in it. Ray, one day I come in, there are two bosses there. The guy's chuckling over the artboard. I go over to the guy who hired me. I say, "What's wrong with Joe? How come he's laughing his ass off?" "Oh, he got a couple of shots from you after. He has to take all the blemishes off their boobs." Now, one of the last jobs that I talk about, and I've talked about this before, is that I was a tax collector. Why is this funny? I walk into one place, the lady says to me, "Anything in the house is $25, including me." I said, does that come with the doctor prescription, the pills and medicine to cure any diseases you might have? Walk out of the another time at the tax collector. It's a Friday afternoon. I'm going for a brand new job in a brand new office in a different occupation altogether. And I have literally 1 week left on the job or I'm gone. They send me out to close a business up. Sure enough, the guy in charge of the seizing this place, Irma Shabbos, he won't work weekends. I already know there's going to be a problem. Why? Because we're closing a place up because they have a bill of $1 million. I say, why? Well, wait a minute, $1 million. What kind of place is this? Oh, they package and brand and put stamps on cigarettes. How much of a bill can this be? And they tell me it's $1 million. $1 million. $1 million seizure Friday afternoon. Guy in charge of Sherman Shabbos. What do I have to do with it? Or why do I have to do this? Well, you're the low man on the totem pole and you're leaving soon. You're going. Something's going to happen. Guaranteed something's going to happen. No, nothing will happen, the boss says. If something happens, we'll give you a week off. We close the place up. And what is it? There's 1 week worth of taxes that this guy did not pay. 1 week of a cigarette manufacturing standard. 1 week he was behind $1 million. Place up, 2 o'clock in the morning. What happens? My telephone number is on the paperwork. I get a call to go down alone to the worst part of Brooklyn where this place is located. Do you think that I'm going to go alone to the worst part of Brooklyn? I can't call the police. The police have nothing to do with New York State. I can't reveal the information of the taxpayer because that's a violation of the trust. I can't go down to the place alone because it is in a dangerous neighborhood, especially since they had tobacco in the place. Not that there's anything left, but I'm responsible. It's a very strange thing. If you're responsible, you're the last man on the totem pole. Call a friend. I go down. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll finish the story another time.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, did you have a few more minutes or another minute to finish
Okay,
it?
just a couple of seconds to wrap it up. I call my friend Joe. We go down. The security guard comes down because they call us. Security guard says, "You go in." I look at him and I say, "Wait a minute. You got the gun. You go in." And he looks at me. He says, goes in. He comes out. He says, "Somebody threw a rock in the window. That's the only reason you're here now. Goodbye." That was it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Yeah, so Alex Glatt. Yeah, you can maybe have your own like mystery podcast or something like that. You have the voice for it and everything. Just, yeah, interesting stuff. So cool. Thank you, Alex. All right then. Our next performer, Teresa Hollow. She always people always laughed at her, but now people are laughing at her jokes. So let's give it up to Teresa. Ooh, Teresa. Let's see. I'll get the thing here. Oh, where is it? There we go. There.
Hi.
Teresa.
Well, I went to the doctor and she says to me, "Oh, these blood tests look very bad. I'm afraid you only have 2 weeks to live." This was last July. So she says, "You better check with this other specialist." She gets me an appointment there 3 weeks later. How did she know I wasn't going to be dead? But anyway, 3 weeks later, I go to the second doctor. And doctor looks at the same blood test. She said, "Oh my God, you'll be lucky if you live 2 weeks more. You better see another doctor." I couldn't get an appointment for 6 weeks. So I went to the third doctor, and he agrees with the two first doctors. He says, oh, this looks terrible. I think you need to take these pills. Let me write you some prescriptions. I'm like, okay, so how much was that going to be? He says, you know, if you're in a drug plan, you know, with your insurance, your copay is only going to be $400 a day. I said, well, it's now 11 weeks since the first doctor said I had 2 weeks to live. Maybe I'll just put off, you know, trying the pills, the pharmaceutical drugs. He says, it's only $400 a day. You know, it used to be $1,200 a day. All those patients died, you know, because they couldn't afford it. So we got the company to lower the cost for you. No. If I had that kind of money, $400 a day, I wouldn't be going to doctors. I'd be too busy. I'd be shopping. So I gave up on doctors. But then, you know, once you have a relationship with any one doctor, you will never get away from doctors. They seem to work together somehow. I got a letter marked personal from the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. Now I thought, oh my gosh, I must really be somebody. Turns out, I found out later, they sent the same letter to 400,000 people. They wanted to know if they should send me a free trial issue of their health letter. And I read the small print. If you say yes to the free trial issue, they're going to bill you $2 a month for the rest of your life. So I thought, well, I'll be smart. So I sent them back a letter saying, no, thank you. I only have 2 weeks to live, so please don't bother me. What a mistake. Now I get 20 letters a day from funeral homes. Senior living accommodations aren't as easy as they used to be. You only get a small coffin. My mom used to say, anything worth getting for free has got to cost something. Well, before I opened the Mayo Clinic's letter, I thought that they wanted to give me a free trip to Minnesota. And I've been there before. It's really gorgeous, especially if you go for free. So I admit I had wrong expectations, but there's a good reason. My health problems are very interesting. There's a group of research doctors in Boston who keep calling me. They're begging me to go up there and let them study me. They say I'm such a valuable specimen. They'll put me up for free in their executive Petri dish. It's got a balcony overlooking the MRI machine. And what if I die while they're studying me? More benefits. My estate won't be billed for a hearse to take me to the morgue, because the morgue is on the same floor as this research office. They'll just roll me down the hall on a gurney. That's a very big savings for my estate. And that's important because some of my beneficiaries are cousins in Boston. And with that savings, we could all go to the theater and buy front row seats. Of course, I'm going to go with them. That does make me worry a little bit, because if I'm dead, am I going to be able to keep my eyes open for the whole show? What if I fall out of my chair? You know, after you die, usually you're not as coordinated as before. On the other hand, what if I'm a ghost I could just hover in the air and watch the show, and I wouldn't even need a seat. More savings. Well, that's my time.
Mhm.
I'm Teresa Hummel, alive and well in New York City.
Yay, hey, Teresa Hummel. Yes, she's alive and well and having fun and teaching us how to save money by getting free trips to Minnesota and being a ghost and stealing people's popcorns in the movie theater. Great.
I hadn't thought of that part. But
Yeah.
you know, that popcorn has really, you know, that thing they put on it that they call butter. You know, it's not butter.
Oh, the
It's really,
fake butter.
it could kill you. The butter alone.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. And yeah, and catch you at the movies. Okay. Yeah.
I'll be sitting there with carrot sticks.
Oh yeah, healthier. That we well you can still go to Minnesota, but yeah. All right, your next comedian, a very funny guy. He actually performs in comedy clubs throughout New York City, and also has been the extra on the Miss Maisel. You can catch it on, I think, on Prime. Or I've been watching it through all three. I watched all three seasons, and and also, of course, Ziggy's one of the all the performers who's been on Peacock TV. Good timing. So let's give it up for Ziggy Cesar. Ziggy Cesar.
Thanks, Danny. By the way, if you want to see me on Mrs. Maisel, it's season 2, episode 7, in the 40th minute. You'll see the side of my face for 1 second.
Cool.
So if you're looking, that's where I am. That's where I am. Anyway, you know, now it's winter time, and I went into my closet to, you know, get my winter coat, and I see all these feathers coming out, you know. So I try to push them back in, you know, with my fingers, but they're like sharp. They're like, you know, pointy quills. So, you know, I end up like puncturing my fingertips, and blood's coming out, and blood red doesn't look good on a black down coat. So I got duct tape to keep the feathers in. Duct tape to keep the feathers in. Anyway, but that looked cheap. So I tried VHS tape, but that was old and brittle, so that didn't work. So I got crime scene tape. It doesn't keep the feathers in, but I always get a seat on the subway. So, you know, that it's good for that reason. So I bought a coat that's guaranteed not to lose any feathers. It's made out of faux zirconium. But I can't wear it yet because I have to build up more upper body strength to be able to carry it and everything. But till then, I wear layers. And sometimes it's so cold, I look like a 7-layer cake, which isn't so terrible because one of the layers is red velvet, which goes very well with the blood still dripping out of my fingertips. I'm not a big reader. I don't like to read much, so I joined a book club. That's like, you know, somebody being afraid to fly and going skydiving, but that's how I roll. And when it's my turn to pick a book, I always pick an audiobook, a short audiobook. I don't want a long audiobook. And I love audiobooks. I mean, you could do anything while you're listening. You could read a book. You could watch a movie. You could listen to music, you know. As a matter of fact, right now, I'm reading or listening to War and Peace while this is going on. And, you know, I wish they would have had audiobooks when I was young. You know, I wouldn't have to spend so many hours reading Cliff's Notes. You know, if they would have had it when I was young, I would have, you know, gotten audio Cliff Notes. I'm sure, you know, some of you look at me and say, you know, Ziggy, you're so old that they probably didn't invent language when you were young. But that's not true. You know, I would talk to burning bushes. You know, family elders would, you know, pass down stories. You know, so you know, we learned things and everything. Speaking about airplanes, like I'm pretty lazy, and I'm lucky my wife does a lot of things, for us and stuff. And, I don't know how happy she is doing them, but, she does a lot of stuff. Like she got the plane tickets and, she makes the hotel reservation. She tells me what to pack, all this stuff. So, we get to the airport and, I go to the TSA guy and I give him my boarding pass and my ID. And he said, there's something wrong here. This boarding pass says lazy susser. And I go, no, it's supposed to be Ziggy Susser. And he says, no, it says lazy susser. So I said to my wife, did you do that on purpose? Did you, write my name, my first name is Lazy? She said, no, it must have been spell check. It wasn't me. And I said, maybe it was you. I mean, you call my nephew Loafing Larry. So, maybe it was you. She said, no. Anyway, so we finally get that straightened out, and then I have to go through the, thing where they check your stuff and everything. So I put everything in a tray. They say, take off your belt, empty out all your pockets, take your shoes off. So I put everything in a tray, and, I go into that magnetometer, and I do like calisthenics, to, you have to do. And he said, are you sure you took everything out of your pockets? And I said, sure, I definitely did. And he said, did you take everything out of every pocket? And I go, definitely, I definitely did. And he said, did you take everything out of your pants pockets? And I know now he saw something in that x-ray, but I think I took everything out. So when I go through, he says, okay, put your hand in your back left pocket. So, sure enough, I pull out of my back left pocket a small piece of paper. And I said, I'm a comic. Whenever I think of something funny, I have to write it down. So he says, let me have it. So I give him the paper, and he looks at it, reads it, and he says, there's nothing funny here. So, my luck, I get a heckling TSA agent on the way to Helsinki. But anyway, we have a good time, everything there. And on the way back, before we got to the airport, I said to my wife, are you sure you wrote Ziggy right on the boarding pass? And she said, for sure. I definitely wrote Ziggy the correct way. So I get to the Helsinki TSA guy, and I give him my boarding pass and my ID. And he says, something wrong. It says here, Ziggy Piggy. So, I ended up spending the night at the Helsinki airport. My wife went wee all the way home. I'm Ziggy Susser, and thank you very much. Thank you, Danny. Everybody stay well.
Yeah, I use Ziggy Susser. Yeah, it's TSA does not understand comedians' notes and stuff. They will,
Right.
Can't write the whole joke out, but it's but I'm not sure. Can't think of any TSA jokes or something. But the old joke. Hey, I just flew in from Chicago, and boy, are my arms tired. Yeah, that's an old joke. So
thank you.
Easy. All right, your next performer, also, of course, from the Good Timing Peacock TV, it's time for Ivana Lewis. Yeah, let's get it for Ivana. Ooh, are you there? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Ivana.
Okay. This have to do with singing in the choir. I was singing in the choir. We used to go to the hotel and sing, and on Christmas time in front of our neighbor's door. So we have to test out and see what do you sing. So I went into the soprano, and I was singing, and the director said, "No, you don't sing soprano." She put me in the alto. Start practicing singing the alto. After singing the alto, she said, "Oh, no, you don't have that alto voice. You should go in the tenor." So she put me in the tenor group. Start singing. Oh, she said, no, you don't sing tenor. You got to go back in soprano. So I went back and forth. And you know what happened? Every time someone don't show up with soprano, they select me to sing in the soprano series. When someone don't show up for the alto, they pick me to sing the alto part. And when someone don't show up to sing the tenor, they pick me to sing up the tenor part. So I say, then I should be the director. Because if I can sing all three, then I should be the director, and I will know where should I go and what should I sing. Not taking me from one place to the other. So in the end, I end up in the alto. And I tell you, I became the alto soloist because the alto is a low thing. And it was so beautiful. Whenever we go out to the hotel, I'm the one they put in front with the alto solo. So, I call her a devil director because I guess probably she didn't like me or something. But, in the end, I was able to fill in for everyone who doesn't show up. And I think that was a great thing because now I'm an adult. I sing in the choir, I sing alto, I sing soprano, and I sing tenor. And when they don't show up, I'm the one that take this place to sing those topics. And I became like a soloist. Sometimes I lead the choir in soprano, singing a soloist. So I'm grateful that she did pick on me and put me in all those groups because I'm able to sing alto, tenor, and soprano. So that's my part of it.
Okay, thank you, Yvonne. And you're always welcome to sing a song if you like it. You don't have to now, but whenever you're ready, maybe another time, or if you like to now. But no pressure.
I just had an idea, Yvonne. If the director's ever out, you could take the director's place too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. Thanks for the experience. Thank you, Yvonne. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, and now we go. Another performer. Also, let's see. Actually, she's actually singer, songwriter, and also filmmaker and producer director. Helen founded several regional theaters and was the chair at the Theater Arts at City University in New York. But don't tell anyone. Shh. Yeah, Helen is also lots of fun. So here's Helen.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the Olympics. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Sports. I have watched the Olympics. And do you know they still have the javelin toss? Isn't that a bit outdated? No, by a couple of thousand years. Hey, can you imagine the scene? Someone accosts you with a gun, and you're going to go, yeah, well, I have a javelin, my handy dandy 10-foot-long javelin. Just give me a minute and a half while I run 40 yards and throw it in your face. Pow! Oh, that didn't work well. But there should be more modern Olympics just for New York City, don't you think? Can you imagine that? Like how fast you would have to run to catch a moving bus. Well, actually not very fast. Oh, and if you did catch it, do you have the core strength to stop the driver from slamming the door in your face? And could you get to your destination faster by loping along the bike path? But then you get a point if you're on the bike path and you avoid getting hit by a car or a bicycle. Taxis, double points. And for even more points, when it rains, try hailing a taxi. Quadruple points if you can even find a taxi. But listen, why bother to just use crowded city streets for stupid marathons when you can have crowded subways for super events? Have you ever noticed there's a lot of steps going down in our subways? Other countries have escalators. They're lazy. And if you can find a working escalator, there's the running up and the running down escalator event, and the up and down running it for relay races. And hey, for Winter Olympics, just run it with skates. And our athletes get solid points for how many passengers they can trip. Another popular winter sport could be going down banister skiing. And then there's the race. Who can climb down those dark subway steps fast enough to catch a train? And you know you don't need any artificial hurdles. We can just high jump over those turnstiles. And you get extra points for how high you go, and if the man in the booth can't run fast enough to arrest you. You also get points for stopping the guy who's trying to push his pregnant girlfriend in front of the oncoming train by instead pushing him. And this is judged by Keanu Reeves. Listen, you just got to have celebrity judges. And then there's points for crashing your way into the subway door seconds before it closes. And that's judged by the great Chinese or Malaysian stunt gal, Michelle Yeoh, with Jackie Chan as backup. And for strength games, can you push your way in at the height of rush hour or at 3 o'clock when school kids are jumping in? And that's judged by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, listen, we need celebrities to start this off. And then there's the who can jam themselves in a closing door and stop the train from moving tournament. And that's judged by who's ever this week is playing Batman. So, listen, you finally made it inside, but how long can you read someone's newspaper over their shoulders before they catch on? Quadruple points if you can even find someone who still reads the newspaper. Judged by Donald Trump. And then there's the panhandling with pizzazz. Panhandling with pizzazz. The more pizzazz, the higher the points. And the judges for this event need a comeback with pizzazz, and they are Will and Jada Smith. So, as you can see, costs would be kept low, very low. You don't need a big stadium or anything like that. And the games are meaningful for today's world. So I sincerely propose these new sports directions for truly modern Olympic Games. Hey, what do you think? Oh, listen, it doesn't matter what you think. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, all right. Let's all do it. Let's cheer for these New York Games. Yay! Rah!
Yeah.
Let's gamely get going. Better games, permanent games, modern games. Okay, boola boola, and hip hip hooray. Thank you. I think I'm Helen Yaloff, and if not, please tell me. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Rah!
Yay, Helen Yaloff. Yes, I like those ideas. I think you could actually do it, at least in the doesn't have to be the real life thing, but it can be like an area where you can have all these buses and people do that. Of course, yeah, New Yorkers would dominate that game, and so yeah, I think you should do it. I think it'd be great to see you have like a Madison Square Garden, have the buses and all that stuff, and try it there. Just an idea, just a thought. Yeah, and it's good.
And then we could use Madison Square Garden for parties for me.
Yeah, that's right.
They won't be needed for games anymore.
Yep, that's the place to have it. Yeah, and yeah, it's also a good thing they don't have any more javelin catching. That wasn't a good thing for the sport. Yeah, so thank you, Helen. Yeah, if you can propose that idea, it could work because I know in San Francisco we have like the running waiters across the street thing, and you know, of course it's closed off, so nobody gets hit by a taxi. So yeah, so cool. Alrighty, thanks, Ellen. And now closing off the show, it's your next performer. He performs all over New York. He sold over 1,000 jokes to comedians, including Rodney Dangerfield and Joan Rivers and Phyllis Ziller. He also lectured on comedy at the Las Vegas International Ventriloquist Convention and has performed on cruise ships, comedy clubs, conventions, parties, and places beyond description. You may have to ask him about that. So let's get funny guy. It's Tom Padovano. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, it's nearly Valentine's Day, and I'm a romantic guy. Like last Valentine's Day, I said, girlfriend, come over here. I want to say something romantic to you. So she came over. I put my arms around her and said, I save 15% by switching to Geico. Then she switched to a different boyfriend. And I got her this gift that was not only romantic, it was practical. A heart-shaped mop. Yeah. And after she finished with me, I had heart-shaped welts. I also gave her a money card, but she got mad because it had no money on it. I said, but honey, look at the cute puppies on the gift card. She still wasn't happy. And I try to correct her when she makes mistakes. Like she said to me, love is in the air. I said, no, honey, that's pollen. You got to straighten the woman out. I try to be nice with her, She wanted to go bird watching. So I took her to a pet shop. She got upset about that. I don't know. She said she was going to see an infectious disease doctor. I said, no, don't go to a doctor that has an infectious disease. I was looking out for the woman, I don't know. And then I took her to a candlelight dinner, right? But we got thrown out. I did not know you're not allowed to light candles in McDonald's. But then I found out why you're not. Oh my God. Is Ronald McDonald's outfit flammable? Oh, did that clown go up in smoke? Yeah. And I just got an early Valentine's Day card from my landlord. I'm going to read it to you. Okay. It's nearly Valentine's Day, a holiday that's sweet. But if you don't pay your rent, you'll be out on the street. So I sent him a Valentine's Day card and it said, wait, okay. Oh, yes. Yes, it's nearly Valentine's Day, a holiday that's sweet. I'll pay the rent when you send up some heat. It's cold in New York in the winter. Come on. I mean, I'm not good with women. I'm trying to meet somebody new. I went to this club. Hey, babe, what's your sign? Keep off. I was talking to this woman. She wants to date 10 men at the same time. I said, I'm not into that. I'm monotonous. Then there was this other woman. She said she wants to date a man comfortable in his own skin. I said, forget me. I have psoriasis. And then she was itching to leave. Let me tell you, people, I'm getting desperate. I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken just to hear the words breast or thighs. I put Vicks Vapor Rub on my chest to meet women with asthma. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, and I went to church to meet a woman and I saw this one lovely lady and I said, you might be the answer to my prayers. She said, oh, that's so sweet. You might be the answer to my prayers. You got $10,000? I said, honey, pray for a miracle. Oh, it's terrible. But I do remember my first love. And I remember saying, oh, Hortense, I know I'm not as smart as Johnny. I'm not as handsome as Johnny. And I don't make as much money as Johnny. But Hortense, I will love you forever. And she said, oh, Tom, that is so sweet. But tell me more about Johnny. Oh, you know, now my best friend, I forgot to tell you, I'm now on the Elvis Presley dating app. Love Me Tinder. Yeah. And when I joined, they said, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Now, my best friend is single and Jewish. He's on J-Date. I'm single and Italian. Hey, Dave. Hey. Oh, I went to this wedding that was half Italian, half Jewish. Everything was done 50-50. Even the songs of your mother, your mother. I mean, everything was 50-50. They had the men wear yarmulkes. On the yarmulkes was an ad for Vino's Pizza. And you know, at a Jewish ceremony, they have the groom step on a glass. Here, the groom was Italian. He slapped it. Now, my Uncle Chooch was at the wedding. He's always upset, but not that day, because he finally got his birthday wish. Parole. And, you know, he has such a nice wife. And a few months ago, he was in the hospital. His wife visits him and he goes, yo, bride, you were there for me when I was abusing alcohol. You were there for me when I was a drug addict. And hey, look at this. You're here for me again. So I've been thinking, you're a jinx. Well, thank you, everybody. Good night.
Yay, woo, thank you, Tom Padovano. Yes, up close and personal. Yeah, it's good to know. Yeah, I like the 50-50 stuff. It makes it funner, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. So all right, well, yeah, so that's our show. Thanks to all the performers. Again, they're from Good Timing on Peacock TV. Look for it. It's still on there. And all of these performers are from Good Timing on Peacock TV. And thank you for coming out here. So big hand to Helene Witt and Alex Glatt, Teresa Hummel, Ziggy Susser, Ivana Lewis, Helen Yellow, and Tom Padovano. And I'm Danny Detcher, your host, and see you next time. And thanks everybody for a fun show.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny.